18 months ago, I saw this property, the auction, and I sent it to one of my regular buyers because it looked like an amazing property. And then it disappeared. And afterwards, I learned that partners at Ronald Fletcher Baker bought this building, make it into their headquarters. And we've worked with RFB for over 10 years, and they sponsored books, so they featured on our channel. And it's amazing to learn that they bought this building. Today, instead of talking about auction theory and law, we're going to talk about how professionals buy buildings for their own use and how some of the deals never make it into your stuff.
Okay, so in a minute, I'm going to be speaking to David Burns, partner at Ronald Fletcher Baker Solicitors, about why they bought this building and why they moved pre-auction. But before that, I just want to show you what I was actually looking at when this property came up. So this is the original Allsop commercial listing from November 2024. And at a glance, this is a freehold building, very central location, 3 minutes away from Holborn Station. It's got very decent size, 14,227 square feet, and income already coming in, £413,000. So nothing distressed, nothing complicated, just a solid, functional commercial building in a very strong location. And when I broke down this area into pound per square foot, this came at just under £400 per square foot, with a guide price of £5.5 million. So this is already super cheap. Like anything around that level in central London, it's almost unheard of, especially functional, well kind of kept and looked after building. So this was already really good. And what was also very good, which we like when we buy property, is this income coming in from day one. Okay, but it wasn't really the income that's coming in that kind of mainly I thought it was good. It was the potential to increase that income, because I thought that £413,000 was actually fairly cheap for what the building was, and it could have been improved maybe by reletting the building on a floor by floor basis. So that's one. Even if you did nothing fancy to this building, I think the income could have easily gone up. And I also wasn't looking at this as an end user deal. This felt more like a commercial play. You've got income from day one, the reversion through reletting, and then the optionality with planning potentially longer term. So that combination is what made this building super interesting for me. And then next thing I wanted to check, I want to show you kind of what I was looking at, was the property data kind of context. So this is the outline of the building, super strong location, surrounded by our commercial property, right next door to Red Lion Gardens, which is a very nice leafy kind of square in London. So super good location. And that actually supports what I was saying about the rental income being not as high as you could potentially have. And the last part was, like I said, optionality. This building already had planning permission in 2005 for change of use, part change of use actually, of two upper floors into residential use, and adding additional 2 stories to the building, and to provide additional residential accommodation, which would make it into 13 flats on the upper floors. So this floor, and the 2 new floors would be residential accommodation, 13 flats, and then halfway down it would remain commercial. So that optionality was really kind of very attractive. And obviously this planning application lapsed and was never implemented, but just the fact it was already there and someone went through that process means that there's potential in this building and someone could easily go back to planning and get this. That's what I was thinking, but let's see what the actual buyer of this building was thinking and what the plans for this building are and how they're going to implement this. So let's go.
Hi, Michael Allison here from Roma Finance, proud sponsors of Property Auction Hunters. These guys are great to get you ready to go out there and buy an auction. And Roma Finance, with our product set, we're there ready to support you with the finance that you need.
So, Dennis, what made you buy this building? Like, you guys,
Well,
what's the story?
so as you know, we've got 4 offices in the firm: one Exeter, Manchester, Beach Street, and Home Street. So in London, we had 2 offices, renting both of those, and I sort of was looking for somewhere to rent in between. Um, and the cost of renting somewhere in this location is really high.
Yeah.
And so then one of my colleagues, Denise, was also looking at the possibility of buying somewhere. So he was keeping an eye out, and this place was on the market through an agent. And we thought, why don't we set up the company for the partners in the firm who can pay towards the building. We buy the building and then rent it out to the firm. Was the idea.
Okay. Nice. So effectively, like, this is a bit of an investment more than operational value for the business, because you guys can rent it out and
Exactly.
operate from, yeah.
Yeah, so the plan is I showed you before, I think we're on the 3rd floor. So we got four floors, plus the business ground reception area. And we're going to take, when I say we, Ronald Fletcher Baker are going to take the 1st and 2nd on the ground floor. And then we're going to rent out, hopefully, this floor that we're on now and the 4th floor for a few years at least, because it gives us that flexibility. Because the problem with renting somewhere as well is, if you rent a building or a space with 100 desks, what do you do when you want to grow and add another 50 fee earners or people in that? You have to then go back, rent another place, turn the other lease. So this gives us the best of both worlds. We can rent what we've got, grow, see how it goes, and then start taping additional floors if we need them.
Yeah, amazing. And I'm guessing it's quite an operational kind of massive job to move offices and have everything set up. But
Yeah, do you know what? We haven't started it yet. So, but I think the plan is actually, like, say I'm in Big Shoot office, so the IT team have arranged for removal guys to come on the Friday and basically take out all of the IT equipment, put it in here over the weekend. So on the Monday, our team will go into the Holborn office and start working. So actually, it's sort of been planned out, and it should be relatively straightforward. We're also sort of paper light now, so I don't have physical files myself. It's all on the case management system. There still are old school property lawyers who've got, so we're dealing with that. That's going to be. But I want to keep the place as clean and tidy as possible, and as minimalist. So you're going to have these beautiful spaces, and if they get filled up with like tons of files, it will just ruin it.
yeah, 100%. So basically, like I was saying, I saw this property in the auction. It looked like an incredible deal. Like, I sent it to someone that I work with, and I said, this is ridiculous, like less than £500 per square foot in central London. And it's already bringing like 420k from the existing year-round tenants that was terminating their lease, right?
Yeah, they have an accountancy practice in here who I think enacted to the owners, and so they were getting a good rent, a sort of favourable and reduced rent, and they have moved on to somewhere else. So yeah, I agree with you. It's one of those buildings, like you said, out from the outside, not winning any grand design prizes. It's not the prettiest, but it is. You were saying this yourself, is functional. It sort of like does what you need it to do for this type of dirty.
Yeah, 100%. So just so that everyone understands, so this building's got like a parking downstairs for like 7-8 cars, 7 meters. Yeah, and then this ground floor, it's got meeting rooms.
Yeah.
And the reception space, and then this 1st and 2nd floor, it's gonna be RFB headquarters.
Yeah.
And then there is 3rd and 4th floor, which you guys are gonna rent out to someone else. And that's kind of.
And just as you were here, as we were videoing, there were agents walking around. I think there's been quite a bit of interest. we've probably spent more of the money doing up the floors that we want to rent out. So they're probably at a higher spec than the floors we're taking ourselves, because the priority is not to be liable for the business rates and all the rest of it on these.
Yes.
Because we were saying as well, the office market in central London is still a hit and miss. It's not that easy. But I think, we're only 3 minutes from Holborn Station. Like, it's a really quick walk to it.
Yeah.
And it's done well. So I think it will, fingers crossed for now.
Reasonably easy. Yeah, 100%. So basically, do you mind if we talk a bit of about numbers? Because they're like fascinating. So this property is in the auction with guide put around, I think, 5.5.
It was on for sale though before that for quite a few months at 6.5.
Yeah.
And we were in the process of negotiating that down over a long period, and then they just decided to stick it in. I think it was all subs.
Yeah.
We're using them
Almost, so yeah.
or sort. And so we, I think it was the day before the auction we exchanged, because we were feeling the pressure, and it needed all of the partners in the firm are shareholders in the company that now owns the building. So we needed to do a lot in Ireland behind the scenes, to have everybody on board, to have the agreed and felicitated, also to have the lending.
Yeah.
So we put down a deposit ourselves, and then secured lending. It was Barclays. And the interest rates are coming down. Every time the interest rate comes down,
That's money in the pocket, right? It's palpable, like, impact.
yeah.
So you bought it for 5.5 million.
Yeah.
And this is 14,000 square feet of space. So basically, it's a freehold building for less than £500 a square foot in central London. In very decent condition already. Like, you did some refurb.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Not heavy duty refurb. No.
just cosmetic. Like,
And actually, I was saying, they give us all their furniture, which we kept for 10 grand.
Yeah.
So there's all the tables in the downstairs meeting rooms, the TVs, the chairs, the lockers that they have here, which are actually quite useful. So there's a lot of stuff, because they were good accountancy practice, so that we're in here using it just fine. So it wasn't a massive.
and they were actually saying because they're needed more space. Is that?
I think so. They're much bigger than us. Yeah. They're able to turn over some 200 million or something. And so they're firmly than all when they have over.
Okay, so 5.5 million to purchase. You spent just under 400 for, and
I
then
think that's what it is. They're going for the refurb.
yeah. So let's say 6 million or 6.5 with stamp. More or less. So basically, you're gonna get, obviously, you're renting some space to your firm, which is gonna provide income. And then you rent the other 2 spaces, so it's gonna be over 600k of income here.
I'd say about 650 is the estimation ish.
Yeah,
650 a year.
yeah. Okay, for a central London building, right in the center where there's proper legal capital of the world.
Yeah, because a lot of the law firms are around here. I love Baker Street, which is where we were, but I think for a law firm, this is a good spot to be, and especially with this size of building. We had no natural light in our existing place. We had natural light in the boardrooms, which are lovely, but in trying to grow our firm, and also within these, being able to buy it through an SPV, which was connected to the firm, allowed us to secure funding that we wouldn't have probably been able to do individually.
Yeah.
Because we can have an agreement that RFB are going to rent the place, so the bank's happen with the annual going to be paid there for mortgages.
That's right, yeah. So it's basically going to be, this building probably going to be worth around 9, maybe not, but more, 10 million.
Yeah, that there's what, I only learned this about 10 minutes ago when the news is saying to the bank that there's what they seem to think it's valued at, which would be, that's great if that's.
No, it's just amazing, especially for central London space, because offices do struggle in central London, right? Yeah. But if you can combine this thing where you basically are effectively a tenant and the owner as well in a different entity, and then you have ability to rent the other spaces with potential to maybe take it back and grow the firm and everything else.
it makes like such a perfect sense, given without all the uplift in capital.
Exactly.
But then that uplift in capital makes it just like a
It does. It does. And the other thing about it is that's interesting. It has lapsed planning permission for, I think, a development of 13 or 14 flats. This is from like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's obviously no longer usable, but it indicates that there is that potential, and that involved putting an extra floor up above the top floor.
yeah.
So there's something there potentially for the future. The thing is, the building regulations and all, it could become a bit, cost intensive and labor intensive. So it's, if we can just have it rented out for the time being,
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And I'm just wondering where's going to be the shelf for our books.
They have to come over, actually. They'll be there. I should have brought them with me today. We should have them here.
No, it's great. Just so everyone knows, obviously, RFB will be working with you guys for like over 10 years.
Yeah.
Like probably 12 years. Like since yes.
The thing is, dates back to Brendan Quinn. I think we met at one of his events, potentially, or
Actually, do you know what? I met more fools at Regent's Park PIN meeting, and I was like, this solicitor who's trying to like get practice.
Oh,
But
no.
it was 2014.
2004.
That's and basically we did the first deal, and I was like super impressed, and then we started doing more.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, it's a long.
It is long. It is
Yeah.
it's a good relationship. It sort of works for both. It feels like a win-win
Yeah.
type of relationship, doesn't it? For and
Oh,
still the auction buyers clubs kept growing as well
yeah.
alongside us. So it's sort of
Yeah, that's right. Plus, like all the hammered clients, actually referring them to you guys, and you referring some of the challenging cases to us.
I might have more of those actually. Yeah.
So yeah, it does feel like a win-win, and it feels like we genuinely kind of move whatever people need forwards. And it's working well.
No, definitely. I enjoy it, and hopefully we will do some auction buyer club
Events.
from here.
Yeah, no, sounds really good. Well, yeah, thanks so much for spending time with us today, and we'll have a bit more of those case studies coming on our channel. So make sure you guys subscribe and stay tuned.